Look at that. In just a couple of minutes, we just made 5 batches of a cobbler mix. You're never gonna go to the store and buy something like this again. Hey you guys, I'm Carolyn from Homesteading Family, and if you want to increase your health, your security, and your freedom, then make sure you click the subscribe button below so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Today, we are going to be making a quick grab cobbler topping that can sit on your pantry shelf. This is a ready mix. You're never gonna go to the store and buy something like this again when you see how incredibly simple that is. But what would a video be with making a mix without showing you how to actually use it? During the summer months, I love to use whatever fresh fruit I have on hand. But today, since we're not ready to pick any fruit yet, there's nothing ripe outside, we're using our freeze-dried blackberries from last summer. So we need to get them rehydrating before we do anything else. I'm actually gonna rehydrate them with a little bit of apple juice right now. This is our apple cider, actually, from our own trees that I canned last fall. This is 3 cups of berries, and I'm just putting in maybe about a cup of juice here. I'm gonna give it a stir and set this aside. I love making this cobbler mix because you can use it with any fresh fruit you have on hand, and all summer long we're picking something, whether it's cherries, apples, plums, whatever it is. You don't need to start with this step. You certainly don't need to start with freeze-dried fruit. However, you can use whatever you have freeze-dried, whatever you have canned, maybe you even have something frozen, you can totally use those. I'm just gonna set this aside. Now to make the topping mix. You guys are gonna be amazed at how easy this is. It's such a great thing to have on hand. I do wanna warn you guys, this does not count as health food. This counts as show your neighbor who shows up love food. Something warm and sweet and delicious is always appreciated. This is 8 3/4 cups of just all-purpose flour. And we have 5 1/4 cups of a good quality sugar. We also have 2 tablespoons of baking soda and 1 tablespoon of a good quality fine salt. Right now I'm using a Redmond sea salt. You can use whatever good quality salt you have on hand. Can you believe how easy that was? I just dumped all those things in. I'm just gonna whisk them together to mix them really, really well. And over here, I have my quart-sized jars ready to go. Now, you don't have to use quart-sized jars. You can use little bags, Ziploc bags if you want. But these things are gonna be shelf-stable for 6 months, 9 months. Just make sure you get them in something airtight so that you can keep them on hand. We got it well mixed. Now we're just gonna scoop up 2 1/3 cup into each of the jars. Now, certainly using something like whole wheat flour would make this healthier, but because it needs to sit on the shelf, I really, really don't recommend it. However, if you wanted to, you could use something like an einkorn all-purpose flour and at least use one of those ancient wheats. That would work out well too. But for something like this, I tend to go with just a good quality, all-purpose, unbleached. In other parts of the world, we call it plain flour. Poof. I'm always making a mess. Look at that. In just a couple of minutes, we just made 5 batches of a cobbler mix. Stop going to the store. You don't need store-bought cake mixes or anything in a box. And the great thing is we know everything that's in here. There's nothing unhealthy in here aside from the sugar itself. Always, 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 what's one of the first rules of homesteading? Label everything. Put the name of this homemade cobbler mix and the date right on there. Now, I love to write up some cards with the directions on how to actually turn this into cobbler and just tie it on with a nice little string, make it cute, make it pretty, and put it right on the jars so that you don't even have to look it up. You may say, Hey, that was really easy. Is there really any benefit over this versus doing it fresh right when you want it? And I think there is, and I think it has a lot to do with, I don't have to go find the recipe. I don't have to go find the ingredients. I don't have to get out the big barrels of flour or the buckets of flour or anything big like that. It's kind of all packaged, so it's really, really easy to get it started. I know right where it's gonna live in my pantry shelf, so I can just go grab it and get started right away. It's a wonderful thing to have on hand. But now let's look at how to turn it into an actual fruit cobbler. When you're ready to go ahead and make the cobbler, you need to start with those 3 cups of fruit, however it is that you get them, whatever kind of fruit you want. Peaches would be amazing, plums would be great, apples, pears, berries, whatever you come up with. For the most part, I don't sweeten the fruit. I like it a little bit tart, and there's quite a bit of sugar already in the topping, and the likelihood is we're gonna top this with a little bit of homemade ice cream if it's the middle of the summer. I like to keep the fruit kind of just naturally sweet. However, if you taste it and you feel like it's too tart for you, go ahead and add a little bit of sweetener. Let's talk about the ingredients we need to get out. We have our cobbler mix. We have 2/3 cups of butter that's been melted. We've got about 3/4 cups of milk. We have a little bit of vanilla that's optional. You can use whatever you have. I love using the vanilla bean paste, so you can use up to a teaspoon of vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste, 1 egg, and about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. You can play with the spices. You can add more. You can add some nutmeg. You could leave it all out, whatever you want to do. This is a really versatile mix. I'm gonna take about 1/2 of the butter and I'm gonna put it into the bottom of a casserole dish here. And then I'm going to put my fruit right on in there. Don't leave the juice out. We want all that good juice. And just spread that out, kind of mix that butter right on in to the fruit. Oh, look at that. Now we're ready to make the topping. This is pretty simple. First, I'm gonna go ahead and crack that egg in there. This is a nice farm fresh egg, and just beat that up. I didn't grab a fork. Okay, go ahead and add the liquid here, just the milk all in. I know, I'm kind of making this a little bit backwards. Usually you'd have the powder in there first, but this is gonna work out great. Go ahead and add your mix and your cinnamon. And if you're using any vanilla, go ahead and get that in there. And just mix it up. You don't want to over stir it because this is flour, but you do want to get it well combined here. Oh, it smells so good. I mean, look at that. This is cobbler in what, under 5 minutes? So easy. We're gonna go ahead and dollop this kind of evenly-ish. Dollop it evenly. That means kind of spread out your dollops. You know how cobbler is, it's kind of topped with lumpy cake, I want to put it that way, like biscuits almost over the top. So you can kind of dollop it while still leaving some holes in there. That makes it great. And that's where all the juices are going to bubble up through it. Oh, so good. Now make sure you have your oven preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's all ready to go when you get to this point. I wish you guys could smell this. I really want to just lick the spoon. It smells so good, but I'm gonna show restraint. Okay, and then let's take the last of the butter and just drizzle it right over the top of the whole thing. And we are ready to go ahead and slide this right into a 350 degree oven for about 30 minutes. Oh my goodness, you guys, this smells so incredibly good. I wish you could smell this. And that was so easy. Oh, look at that, with a little bit of ice cream right over the top. Oh, I don't want to take a bite. It looks too hot right now. But you guys, if you want to know my top tips for putting 3 fresh meals on the table every single day, check out this video right here. Oh,